What is up and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will be sharing the workout routine I did this past week to add muscle mass to my physique, and I'm on here to share it with you guys. We are starting the video off with day number 1, hitting chest, back, and legs. A pretty deadly combination, but it will for sure push your limits, and that is the name of the game. We want to push ourselves. And that's why I started doing this workout split in the first place, because it is a challenging one, but it honestly is very satisfying. And we started the workout off by hitting some incline dumbbell bench presses for the chest, and a great variation of a bench press because you get a tremendous stretch in the upper chest, good activation in the shoulders and the triceps. And then we supersetted that movement with some cable lat pull downs, building the wideness and thickness of the lats. Now we're moving on to our next pair of exercises that you're going to do back to back, no rest in between, to keep that heart rate going and make sure that our muscles are fully engaged. We are doing the pec deck for the chest again, and then we're going to do one exercise for the back, which will be the close grip cable rows. I love using cables for my back, and I make a point to use them within my workout because I always see a huge difference in my physique when I use cable equipment when it comes to training my back. So that is something that I always hammer in every workout when I hit my back, because it really just makes a huge difference. And it's little things like that that I feel like are important to take away from your training. What exercises are benefiting you the most, and where do you see the most progress, and what workout split benefits you? But I'm on here sharing this workout split because it is something that I've seen tremendous growth in my physique, and that is why I wanted to share it. And after doing that, we're moving on to our next pair of exercises, which is the machine chest press for the chest, and then supersetting those with some cable lat pull downs, but this time with a supinated wrist to target the back, just slightly different. Now we're moving on to our next pair of exercises, which is the wide grip dip. And I am using an assistance just to ensure that I hit those 8 reps, because the repetitions matter. And using the wide grip really emphasizes the stretch of the pectoral muscle. We really want to see the stretch when doing any and each and every exercise. The stretch is tremendously important because that is how your muscle tears apart, and the contraction is also key. So building that muscle mind connection to engaging that specific muscle in each and every workout is extremely crucial. And after doing those, we finished the chest and back portion of the workout with some dumbbell pullovers. Just a great exercise as a whole because it emphasizes the stretch of the chest and the back. I love dumbbell pullovers, and I will say it each and every time I have them in the workout because they are so good. And then we're finishing the chest, back, and leg workout with the leg portion of the workout by doing some machine leg presses to hit the quads, but it also gives me a good stretch in the hammies, a little bit activation in the glutes, and then something to isolate those hamstrings, which will be the seated leg curls. You're gonna superset these, so it is pretty brutal, and you're gonna do 6 total sets of those. Great way to end the workout. And now we're moving on to our next day, which will be shoulders, biceps, and triceps, and a little bit of forearm training as well. A great arm day, starting it off with the easy bar behind the neck press. A great variation of a shoulder press because it moves the tension from the front side of the delt to the median, and it really does add more to the shoulder, giving it a wider appearance, that like peak on the outside. We really want to build every angle of the shoulder to complete a full round cap look. And you're going to superset that with the easy bar bicep curls, a great exercise for hitting the biceps. Very raw and feeling because it's just a lot of power that you're driving into those biceps. Love doing those, and you're still doing 8 repetitions in each and every exercise. Now we're moving on to our next pair of exercises, and in this workout we're pairing the shoulders with the biceps. Just just a good way to mix things up is to superset them with different muscle groups. And in today's workout, I find that I get a really good pump when I do the biceps and shoulders together. We did some side incline lateral raises, a variation of a lateral raise that is really good at just getting into that deep tissue when you're doing the lateral raise. It's so satisfying, and it is one that I'm gonna keep on doing, even though the setup feels a little goofy because you're kind of laying on an incline bench. The sensation and activation that I get in the shoulder when I do those lateral raises is peak. So we are going to keep coming back to those. And after that, we're hitting the rear delts with some bent over rear delt flies, doing 8 sets of those. And then we're going to superset that using the bench that we rested our head on. We're going to do some preacher curls with some dumbbells. The angle was different because a traditional preacher bench is a little bit more steep, but this still gave me a really good stretch, and it's always nice to mix things up in the gym, and that is why I love to do it. And now we're moving on to hit the forearms. We're gonna do some easy bar reverse curls, and these are pretty challenging, no lie. I'm using the lowest weight and it is still challenging to hit even those 6 reps. It's just a movement that I don't do a whole lot of and that I need to keep on doing to get stronger at it. And after doing those, you're gonna superset into an easy bar close grip chest press to hit the triceps. And the way that you want to perform the exercise so that it hits those triceps is by making sure that the grip is about 6 inches apart, because the wider you go, the more your shoulders and your chest are going to be involved in the movement, and we really just want to isolate those triceps. And now we're moving on to our next pair of supersets, which is tricep cable push down, another staple, simple and effective exercise for building the triceps. And then you're going to superset those with some wrist curls, a great way to end the workout for the arm day, just isolating those forearms with some wrist curls on the preacher bench. And I've never done them before on the bench, and I think it's actually my second time doing it on the bench like this, and it's actually a really good way to do it. I find that I can just really focus on the wrist curl motion. And now we're moving on to day number 4, because after doing the arm day, we took a rest day to recuperate our muscles into our next chest, back, and leg day. So this is day number 4. After the rest day, we're gonna do training down the rack, which is basically drop sets. You're gonna pick an exercise. So I did dumbbell bench press. I did 1 set of those, dropped the weight, did another set, dropping the weight, doing another set, dropping the weight of 6 reps. You're going to do 6 sets of drop sets for that exercise and doing 6 reps. It is such a good style of training because it really just pumps those muscles up full of blood. You get an amazing pump. It is something that I've learned from old school bodybuilders such as Steve Reeves and Larry Scott, this down the rack training. It's really satisfying to do. You hit 6 reps, drop the weight, hit 6 reps, drop the weight. I think you get the idea, but it's a really good way to fatigue and exhaust the muscle by pumping it up with the constant repetitions, constant time under tension. So good at building that muscle. And now we're moving on to the back portion of the workout. We did cable lat pull downs and we're doing cable rows again, but this time with a slightly different grip. And then we're gonna do cable lat pullovers, and each exercise we're still doing those 6 drop sets of 6 reps. It's a really quick way to train as well, but it really does fatigue the muscles so nicely, and I highly recommend it if you've never done it before. Now we're moving on to the leg portion. Since we can't really perform drop sets super fast on a barbell squat, I decided to mix things up and do a leg extension in today's workout by doing 6 drop sets of those, and it really got my quads so pumped up, and it's a way that I feel like is it's something that you can throw in there to really just shock the muscle, and it's really satisfying. Doing that isolation exercise for the quads, and now we're moving on to the hamstrings with some seated leg curls, doing still those drop sets. Such a good way to train. And now we're doing these drop sets again with our arm day, so it is going to absolutely pump you up. We're going to do seated dumbbell shoulder presses to hit the shoulders. I haven't done them seated in a while, and I was like, hey, let's do them seated. And you can push a bit more weight when you're doing it seated because you don't have to focus so much on balance and those stabilizing muscles. And after doing those dumbbell shoulder presses, we're moving on again to easy bar behind the neck presses. If these are too challenging, you can always bring it forward and press up from there. These just tend to hit the lateral head of the shoulder a bit more, and that's why I love them. And then we're doing again the bent over rear delt fly. This is just an exercise that I will never not do because I've always seen good results with my rear delts doing this movement. It's simple and effective, and that is why I keep coming back to it. And then we're moving on to the biceps. We're going to do some cable bicep curls. This is a great way to train your biceps because the cable allows there to be tension on the bicep throughout the entire movement, and that is what we want, that time under tension, building those thick juicy biceps. And then we're moving on to some alternating dumbbell bicep curls, and we're still doing the 6 drop sets in each of these exercises. So after you perform your 6 reps choosing your heaviest weight, you're going to drop the weight and then bust out 6 more reps. It is such a good and satisfying way to train. I've said it a lot because it's true. And then we're moving on to the triceps with a dumbbell French press. And I feel like dumbbells is probably the easiest way to perform drop sets as well as machines because you can just pick a weight. They tend to have more differences in weight that makes the whole process easier. And then we're doing some tricep cable push downs, and then you can just finish doing 1 set and then lower the weight super easily. That's why I tend to do it with the cables and the dumbbells because it's just easier that way. And then doing some dumbbell wrist curls to conclude our arm day yet again. And after doing your arm day, you're going to take a rest day, and then you can start all over from the first workout, or you can take 2 rest days, then start all over from the first workout. And that concludes our video for today. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And as always, stay tuned and thank you for watching.